Hi everyone. Today I was changing my water for my little propagation set here, and it reminded me of a viewer question about how often water should be changed. So I thought I would make a video about propagating plants using water and some tips to maybe make it a little bit more successful. So to answer that one question in video form, yes, you should be changing out the water. I change it about twice a week, so maybe every 3 days or so. And I try to make sure that it doesn't get cloudy. One of the issues, if you don't change the water, that I've noticed is you can get bacteria or bugs in the water, larvae specifically, like little squiggly worms in the water, which is pretty gross. And they're gonna attack and ruin the plants, so you don't want them in there. So changing out the water, and what I usually also do, especially if I've gone too long accidentally, is I will rinse off the roots of the plants in the bottom, the stem of the plants while I'm doing that. So that's kind of the first thing to note when you are considering propagating by water. Another is to make sure that the water stays high enough that the plant is submerged. So you'll notice I kind of, on some of these, well, I'll show you the difference. What does that one have? Roots, right. So this one, does it have roots in the bottom? No, it doesn't. So what I did here, really accidentally, but also because this part of the plant isn't going to fit, this is probably not the best container, I do have the bottom of the stem in water, which is really what you need in order for the plant to stay alive. So the plant is staying alive, it's not gonna dry up. If I really wanna see root growth, I wanna get this node with the roots growing off of it, I wanna get that in the water. So a better example of what I should be doing is this. I just put this in today though, so we don't see good new roots, we just see the old brown roots. You wanna get those nodes under the water because that's where you're really gonna see the root growth from. Let me see if I have a better example of that. Yes, I do, right here. So here's one I have had in for a little bit longer. And you can see that the root growth, the new root growth is coming off of the node there at the bottom. And this one I probably need to fill up a little bit higher too, because you want to make sure that the bottom of the stem, again, ideally the root node, is always under water. Another point I wanted to make is lighting. So you can set up your prop tray all beautiful and put it in direct light and all the plants will die. I've done that before, specifically with baby sunrose. So you want to make sure that they're in a space where there's indirect light and not direct sunlight. Did you have a question? What's your question?
Why is it so long?
Why is it so long? Because it's a trailing plant, and when it was growing, it wasn't getting that much light, so there was a lot of space between the leaves. That's a great question. Maybe I'll make a video of just questions, just kid questions one day. That would be fun, right? And the last suggestion I wanted to make is use clear glass when you're propagating. Not only does it look pretty a lot of times when you're using clear glass, you can see the root growth, exactly. But you can also see when there's a problem. So if the roots are starting to rot or the bottom of the stem is starting to rot, I don't think I have hopefully I don't have an example on here, you can see it quickly and address it before it kills the entire cutting. In those cases, if you have like a brown, mushy bottom of the stem, you just want to chop off above that, let it dry, and then pop it back into the water. So if you use clear glass, you really give yourself the best chance of having more successful cuttings. And it looks nice. Hopefully that is helpful for you when you are growing plants in water. Let me know in the comments if you have any other successful tips or any questions. Thank you.